At 8 years old, I ran deep into the forest and swallowed an alien meteorite. I brought back fragments for my parents to eat, but everyone thought I was insane. They were going to lock me in a psychiatric hospital, unaware that global animalization was coming. Strange meteorites were about to rain down from the sky. They would transform humans into primitive beasts, but that meteorite in my past life created an immortal serpent lord, a being capable of facing the 10 ancient beast kings and emerging unscathed. Now, I am reborn 12 hours before the global animalization, right before the stunned eyes of my entire class. I run directly out of the classroom. My only goal is the forest and the original meteorite of the immortal serpent. At the school entrance, the bully Jacob and 3 lackeys were leaning against the wall when they saw me. He smiled with contempt. "Isn't it the fool, Leo? What skipping class? We're a bit short on cash. Hand over 500, Jacob said. He reached out to shove my shoulder, his eyes full of disdain. My eyes turned cold. Before his hand could touch me, I backhanded him hard. A crack echoed through the street. Jacob flew back 10 feet, slammed into the wall, and slumped there dazed. The 3 lackeys froze in place. I looked at him coldly, my voice like ice. "Get lost. If you block me again, 3 days from now, I guarantee you won't even have the chance to turn into a pig." My words exploded like thunder. The thunder in Jacob's ears made him tremble uncontrollably. He felt an extreme, inexplicable fear wash over him. Ignoring those clowns, I ran straight toward the back hill. When I was less than a kilometer from the impact point, I suddenly heard piercing cries for help not far away, mixed with the fierce howling of wild wolves. The screams drew closer, dripping with tears of desperation. The wolves' excited howls meant death was imminent. I gripped the knife in my hand. I turned and sprinted toward the screams. In a blink, I reached the clearing. In the thick forest, a young pair of siblings was surrounded by 5 wolves. The boy looked about 15 or 16, trembling all over, but he still held up a thick branch to protect his sister. The alpha wolf suddenly roared and lunged directly for the girl's throat. In that moment, I pushed off the ground with force. I moved like a ghost. My knife sliced through the air, leaving a cold flash in its wake. A second before the fangs touched her, my blade pierced its neck. The alpha's head flew. Its body slammed heavily into the dirt, twitched twice, and went still. It happened in a heartbeat. The remaining 4 wolves stood stunned, unable to process that their prey had been intercepted. The girl froze too, disbelief in her eyes. I spoke coldly without turning. "What are you waiting for? Get back." The siblings snapped out of it and scrambled behind me. The 4 wolves finally reacted. They growled with fury and circled me to attack. I moved fast. Using the skills from my past life, I eliminated all 5 wolves in an instant. The siblings behind me stood there, completely stunned. They couldn't believe an 8-year-old boy could kill 5 wolves so easily. Hello, my name is Isabella, and this is my younger brother, Ian. Thank you for saving us. It was them, Isabella, the sole heir to the Sterling Group. I glanced at them out of the corner of my eye without stopping. I turned and headed into the forest. There were less than 10 minutes left before the meteorite's impact. I ran without stopping, arriving 3 minutes before the meteorite struck. I reached the birthplace of the immortal serpent from my past life. A hidden valley surrounded by mountains, uninhabited, where even beasts rarely tread. The exact point of the meteorite's impact. I stopped and took a couple of deep breaths. I looked at the dark sky, my heart beating violently. The meteorite was engulfed in flames. It had already pierced the atmosphere with overwhelming force, falling directly toward my head. But in that moment, I raised my arms with force, and the light in my eyes was more dazzling than the flames in the sky. The meteorite that should have crashed into the ground suddenly stopped less than half a meter from my head, abruptly halting and floating steadily in the air. In the next instant, I opened my mouth and, in one gulp, swallowed that fist-sized meteorite whole. A terrifyingly extreme force invaded my entire body, but I gritted my teeth hard. I didn't make a sound. Then, my body was instantly enveloped by a glow, a cocoon of blue light. The brilliant light illuminated the entire night sky of the region. From dozens of miles away, you could see this pillar of light piercing the darkness. 3 minutes later, the cocoon of light slowly faded, leaving only a snake covered in dark blue scales. A giant serpent emitting a faint blue glow surveyed the entire valley with cold, vertical pupils. I did it. I've transformed into an immortal serpent. From the dense forests in every direction, the howls of wild beasts began to echo. Pairs of phosphorescent green eyes lit up in the darkness. Staring at the cocoon of light in the valley, dozens of beasts crowded together. The primal aura. It was lethally attractive to those beasts. Like a lamp in the night, it drew in every ferocious creature from the surrounding area. Now that the cocoon of light had dissipated, they could no longer contain their greed and moved restlessly. Drool dripped from their fangs to the ground as they approached the valley step by step. Toby watched his surroundings. Seeing those pairs of phosphorescent green eyes, he trembled with fear. Toby crept stealthily to my side. He knew the only thing that could protect him was this massive snake he had watched transform. I raised my massive serpent head and looked indifferently at the surrounding woods. Only 20 wild wolves, along with 5 leopards and 2 black bears, and they still dared to attack me. They really don't know what death is. Just as I prepared to move and wipe out these fools, a cold, mechanical voice suddenly echoed in my mind. Ding! A great disaster has been detected. Host awakening triggered. Immortal serpent lineage, elite variant. Infinite devouring mythological evolution system activated. Congratulations, host. You have received Devour Critical Strike Card X1 Ancestral Dragon's Pressure. Activate. Passive immortality and inextinguishability activated. Mental scan, full range, system. I narrowed my cold vertical pupils, watching the restless wolves and leopards with a flash of bloodlust. Perfect, I'll use them to protect them. I'm going to test my new system and this immortal snake body. My massive serpent body suddenly lunged, like an arrow from a bow, launching me at the nearest wolf pack. Seeing me charge, the wolf pack didn't feel fear. Instead, they let out excited growls. More than 20 wild wolves pounced on me at the same time. In their eyes, I was nothing more than a slightly larger snake, a prey about to fall into their jaws. But they didn't know they were facing the future king of immortal snakes, a reborn soul who had returned from hell. I roared and suddenly whipped my serpent tail. With overwhelming force, I furiously struck the 5 wolves in front. Crack, crack, crack. Several snaps echoed in a row. The bodies of those 5 wolves were shattered by my blow, bone and flesh splashing everywhere. They didn't even have time to scream before dropping dead. The remaining wolves were stunned, clearly not expecting me to possess such terrifying strength. But hunger and greed overcame their fear. They roared and lunged at me from all directions, attempting to tear me apart with their superior numbers. My massive serpent body suddenly coiled, and I opened my jaws wide. I bit into a wolf's body instantly. My sharp fangs pierced its flesh, injecting deadly venom deep inside. Without even a struggle, it dropped dead on the spot. Its body turned black and began to rot before my very eyes. Then, I shook my head violently and swallowed its entire body whole. Ding! Devour successful, Wild Wolf X1. You have gained 1 growth point. Devour Critical Strike Card X10 activated. Congratulations, host. You have gained 10 growth points. The mechanical voice echoed in my mind, and my eyes lit up. The critical strike really triggered. 10 times the reward. How thrilling. Now, with even more reason, I killed with unrestrained fury. My massive serpent body slithered through the valley. Each whip of my tail claimed the lives of several wild wolves. Every time I opened my mouth, I devoured a wolf, gaining a massive amount of life. My speed was extreme, surpassing every snake on Earth, even the prehistoric Titanoboa. Arthur, slumped on the ground, watched the scene. He was completely stunned. He was sitting less than 3 meters from me every time I passed by his side. I kicked up a gust of wind, but my scales didn't even brush a single thread of his clothes. Despite being a newly transformed fierce beast, I possessed extreme control and a clear consciousness. That wasn't something a common beast could ever achieve. In less than 5 minutes, the entire pack, more than 20 wild wolves, was slaughtered and completely devoured by me. Next, I turned and looked at the 5 leopards trembling with fear behind the trees, along with the 2 black bears. Those leopards and bears, who were so eager to attack just moments ago, now saw the massacre I'd unleashed on the wolf pack. Terrified, they turned to flee, trying to run. Too late. Suddenly, I whipped my massive serpent tail. I coiled around a tree so thick 2 men couldn't bridge it, then launched myself like a cannonball. I caught up to the spotted leopards instantly, opened my massive maw, and ate them one by one. In less than 20 seconds, all 5 spotted leopards were devoured by me. The 2 black bears let out panicked growls, completely terrified. They turned to dive into the thicket. Why would I ever give them that chance? I instantly activated my rapid advance skill. My speed tripled, and in a heartbeat, I stood in their way. The 2 black bears stared at me. Backed into a corner, they roared with fury and stood tall to strike me with all their might. Their claws whistled through the wind with enough force to crush steel plates. I didn't dodge. I took the hit head-on. With a loud thud, the bear's claw slammed against my scales. It didn't even leave a mark. Instead, the bear roared in pain, the bones in its paw cracking from the impact. I looked at him, my eyes full of disdain. With that little strength, you dare show off in front of me? My massive serpent body coiled rapidly around him, squeezing with immense force. The sound of breaking bones was constant and relentless. In less than 10 seconds, both black bears were finished. Every bone in their bodies was shattered, their breath gone. I ate them one by one. Devoured. Ding. You have successfully devoured 5 spotted leopards and 2 black bears. Critical hit bonus applied. You have gained 170 growth points. Do you wish to evolve now? I stare at the system panel in my mind, my eyes filled with excitement. It was more than enough, and I even have 80 points left over. The first battle is over. I've already accumulated the growth points for my first evolution, but I won't evolve immediately. There are too many people and prying eyes here, and then there's Ingrid. Besides, I can already hear police sirens in the distance and the roar of helicopters. The glow from the meteorite's fall and the noise of my struggle have already alerted the outside world. The military has arrived. I look down at Ingrid, who is sitting on the ground. She meets my indifferent eyes. She trembled with fear, her face deathly pale. She waved her hands quickly and said in a shaking voice, "Me? I won't tell. I'll never tell anyone about tonight. Please, don't eat me." As she spoke, her legs gave out and she slumped to the ground. Tears began to fall. I looked down and saw the moonlit ground. It was already soaked. She had wet herself from fear. I watched her, my tongue flicking out slightly. In my past life, I fought for half my years in the wastelands. They were just mutant beasts. I never ate a single person. It wasn't because I was kind-hearted. I always felt that eating humans would make me lose the last of my humanity. I'd become nothing more than a beast dedicated to killing. Besides, Ingrid will be very useful in the future. Her information network is what I need most. I looked at her and nodded slowly. Ingrid froze when she saw me nod, her eyes full of disbelief. Could he understand what I said? Did he just nod? At that moment, the sirens in the distance drew closer. The roar of the helicopter was already over the valley. The searchlight beam pierced the thicket, illuminating the valley. It locked onto me firmly. I knew I couldn't delay any longer. The military had arrived. I looked deeply at Ingrid and released a surge of psychic energy. I left a light blue snake-shaped mark on the back of her hand. This mark, it would allow her to feel my location and let me find her at any time. Also, when she was in danger, it would activate my ancestral dragon pressure, scaring off common mutant beasts. Then, I turned around. She stared in the direction where I disappeared, unable to react for a long time. She looked down at the snake mark on her hand, her beautiful eyes shining with a complex light, and she clenched her fist tightly. Outside the valley, at the entrance to the forest trail, the area was already surrounded by military and police. No space was left. Dozens of police cars and armored vehicles were parked by the side of the road. Armed agents. They had already set up security cordons. In the air, 3 armed helicopters patrolled in circles. The searchlights constantly swept through the thicket. The head of the homicide squad, Marcus, looked toward the forest with binoculars. His face was extremely serious. A moment ago, they had received a distress call from Sarah, saying that a meteorite had fallen deep within the forest, that her sister had disappeared, and that there was a wolf attack. At first, they thought it was just a case of missing tourists. But then the superiors detected something in the depths of the forest. An extremely intense energy fluctuation had appeared. It was comparable to the explosion of a small nuclear bomb. A level 1 alert order was issued immediately. They were ordered to equip heavy weapons and all personnel for support. They realized things had spiraled out of control. "Captain, what did you see?" The young police officer at his side asked in a low voice. He gripped his weapon tightly, his palms sweating. Marcus swallowed hard and lowered his binoculars with a look of pure disbelief. With a trembling voice, he said, I think I just saw a glowing giant python. It was over 10 meters long and completely blue." The young officer was left speechless upon hearing this. "Captain, your eyes must be playing tricks on you. How could there be a glowing giant python in this world, and over 10 meters long? The largest anaconda in the world doesn't even reach 10 meters. Before he finished speaking, his pupils suddenly contracted as he pointed toward the dense forest. With a distorted, almost broken voice, he cried out, "Oh my God, the python! Look, there really is one." Marcus jerked his head up and looked in the direction the officer was pointing. He saw it at the edge of the dense forest. A giant python emitting a ghostly blue glow from its entire body, twisting its massive frame. Like a ghost, I slid through a gap in the guardrail. My colossal body was there, thicker than a barrel and at least 15 meters long. My scales reflected a cold metallic glint under the searchlights. "Fire! Fire now! Stop it!" Marcus reacted instantly and shouted the order. Instantly, intense gunfire echoed through the night. Countless bullets flew toward me, forming a web of fire. Most of the bullets hit my scales and bounced right off, without leaving even a single mark. Only a few armor-piercing rounds managed to penetrate my scales. They embedded in my body, leaving several bleeding holes. Blood gushed out. I felt the pain and let out a low roar. Suddenly, I lashed my tail with immense force. It violently struck a massive tree standing beside me. That tree, which would take 2 people to hug, was snapped in half by my tail. It collapsed with a crash, falling in front of the perimeter line and blocking their vision. Seizing the chance, I accelerated sharply and dove into the dense forest by the road, vanishing instantly without a trace. Marcus saw the trees I had shattered with my whip-like tail and the mangled guardrail. He froze completely, his gaze lost and his body cold, thinking that such a terrifying giant snake had entered an area of human activity. He felt a chill crawl up his scalp, his back drenched in a cold sweat. After searching for me, he snapped back to reality and didn't dare ignore the officers at his side. "Quick, report to the superiors immediately. Something grave has happened. An unknown giant creature has appeared in the forest, and it's extremely dangerous. Request military support." Meanwhile, I had already retreated deep into the forest, into an extremely well-hidden natural cave. Coiled up, I looked down at the bullet holes in my body, with blood still flowing. But just then, the immortal blood in my body activated instantly. A warm energy enveloped my wounds. The punctured blood holes were healing at a visible, frantic speed. In less than 30 seconds, several bullet holes had healed completely, without leaving a single trace. Seeing this, my eyes filled with surprise. In my previous life, when I transformed into a grizzly bear, I had also devoured a mutant bear with an extremely powerful self-healing ability. Even if it broke an arm, it healed in half a day. But now, my immortal python body only needed 30 seconds to heal bullet wounds. It's no wonder that the ruler of the immortal pythons in my previous life could face the 10 Beast Kings. Not even a nuclear bomb could kill him. This passive ability of immortality and indestructibility is simply breathtaking. System detected. The host currently possesses 180 growth points, meeting the first evolution condition. Do you wish to evolve immediately? The system's voice echoed in my mind again. Evolve now? I whispered in my heart. Start the first evolution, consuming 100 growth points. Evolution in progress. Instantly, an energy even more terrifying than the previous metamorphosis enveloped my entire body again. My snake body began to lengthen crazily. My scales became harder and thicker, and the color shifted from light blue. It turned a deep, dark blue, emitting a cold metallic glint. My scales became sharper. The venom inside me became much more terrifying. A single drop was enough to kill an elephant. I had also unlocked the new rapid dash skill. I flicked my snake tail in excitement, and the massive force shook the entire cave, causing a slight tremor. I was too powerful, and this was only after one evolution. My attributes had nearly doubled. Coiled inside the cave, I began reviewing the plan for what came next. In my previous life, besides the original stone of the immortal python I held in my hands, there were 3 other original stones from elite variants. One of them was in the tropical jungle of the southern province, which gave birth to a golden python. That golden python possessed the strongest defense in the entire country. Its spiritual armor was so hard it could resist armor-piercing shells, and even missiles couldn't penetrate it. In my previous life, he and the immortal python lord were blood brothers who fought together. They dominated the city. In this life, I must find him before he awakens, devour him, and turn his absolute defense into my own skill. By then, I will have my eternal and indestructible regeneration capacity, combined with an unbreakable absolute defense. Who in the world could face me? Just then, my mental perception scan suddenly detected something outside the cave. 2 waves of extremely intense energy fluctuations were approaching fast. According to the timeline, the first wave of living creatures and the second wave of beastly creatures wouldn't complete their transformation until tomorrow morning. How is it that now mutant beasts were already appearing? And 2 of them, no less. I hid my aura and slowly moved my body to the cave entrance. Looking out, in the clearing, I saw 2 giant tigers, nearly 10 feet long, covered in yellow fur. They had a pair of extremely sharp saber-like fangs. Saber-toothed tigers, an ancient species. The 2 tigers stared at me with grim eyes from the cave entrance, saliva dripping from their mouths. Big brother, are you sure that terrifying energy came from this cave? Asked one of the tigers in a raspy voice. The other saber-toothed tiger nodded and said coldly, correct, it's here. That energy is much more advanced than our ancient blood. If we devour it, we can evolve instantly. We absolutely must not give it a chance to react. The Tiger King said that as long as we capture it, the southern border will belong to us 2 brothers. Hidden in the cave, I listened to their conversation. A flash of icy killing intent flickered in my eyes. So that was it. Had these 2 also been reborn? In my past life, these 2 followed the Tiger Lord, Tyson, committing atrocities and massacring survivor bases. Their hands were stained with blood until the immortal python Lord finally devoured them in one bite. I never imagined they'd be reborn too, finding this place early to devour me. How ignorant and reckless. In my past life, the Tiger King crushed my skull. Now, his henchmen come right to my door. Perfect. I'll use them to test my post-evolution power and collect some interest. I lunged from the cave. My 50-foot body appeared before the 2 tigers, radiating an overwhelming killing intent. My dark blue scales shimmered under the moonlight. Seeing me, the 2 tigers froze, then grew greedy. Far from being scared, they roared in excitement. To them, I was just a walking tonic for their advancement. They didn't know that, to me, they were nothing more than 2 piles of growth points delivered for free. One tiger couldn't contain his greed. He roared and leaped through the air. His sharp fangs aimed directly for my weak point, the 7th vertebra, intending to bite down hard. A pair of sharp fangs lunged fiercely toward my vital weak point, 7 inches below my head. The snake's heart. They know exactly where to strike, but they picked the wrong opponent. I watched the saber-toothed tiger pounce, without a single trace of panic in my eyes. Just as his fangs were about to touch my scales, I moved. My massive serpent body instantly coiled around his frame, moving at a speed almost invisible to the human eye. Rapid dash skill activated. My speed was more than triple its normal rate. The saber-toothed tiger didn't even react before being caught in my death grip. I squeezed without mercy. Crack, crack. The sound of breaking bones echoed through the air. The saber-toothed tiger let out agonizing howls, his limbs flailing in desperation, but he couldn't break free. I snapped his ribs one by one and crushed his internal organs. In 10 seconds, he went limp. Ding. Successfully devoured primal bone, saber-toothed tiger. 50x critical triggered. You gained 500 growth points. The notification rang in my mind. 500 points and a new skill? Perfect. These primal bone species are undoubtedly much stronger than common beasts. Not far away, the other saber-toothed tiger stood frozen, watching his older brother get strangled to death in barely 10 seconds. His pupils were filled with shock and terror. He couldn't imagine that he and his brother, both reborn primal bone saber-toothed tigers, who thought they could take down this giant python with ease, would find an opponent this powerful. In that moment, he felt nothing but regret. He regrets being greedy enough to face this scourge. He turns to flee, trying to escape. Too late. Why would I give him that chance? I drop the lifeless corpse of his brother. Slowly and steadily, I fulfill my determination. Closing the trap, I corner the other saber-toothed tiger, Sarge, who looks at me with pure terror. I can lead you to the Southern King. I beg you, don't kill me. He screams in desperation, his voice full of hopelessness and fear. The Tiger King, that's the striped lord who killed me in my previous life. So Arthur has also been reborn. My eyes harden, and my bloodlust intensifies. There's really no need to look further. I found him without effort. The blood debts of my past life will be collected in this one, with heavy interest included. This Tiger King you speak of, is he the Southern Tiger Lord from before? I open my mouth and transmit a frozen voice directly to his mind through my spiritual energy. Hearing my voice, the saber-toothed tiger trembles completely, his eyes filled with disbelief. You've also been reborn? Who are you? Who am I? I smile coldly as I tighten my coils with even more force. I am Lin, the Lord of the City, whose head your Tiger King crushed with a single kick in my previous life. Hearing this, the saber-toothed tiger's pupils contract suddenly. His entire body turns ice cold as total despair invades him. He never imagined the one he provoked was also a reborn soul and an enemy murdered by his own boss. No, please forgive me. I can betray Arthur. I can help you fight against him. I beg you. Before he can finish his sentence, I violently constrict my serpent body. Crack. His neck snaps instantly under my pressure. He loses his breath completely. Betrayal? In our past life, you followed Arthur and slaughtered so many innocents. Your hands are stained with blood. In this life, how could I ever give them a chance to live? I open my mouth and swallow his entire corpse too. Ding. You have successfully absorbed an ancient saber-toothed tiger X1, activating AX 100 critical hit. You obtain 1,000 growth points. Congratulations, host. You have received an attribute bonus. Strength plus 15, Speed plus 10, Defense plus 15, Constitution plus 20. Congratulations, host. You have reached a new milestone. Skill obtained, Terrifying Roar. The skill has been upgraded to its maximum level. Current total growth points, 1,580. You meet the growth points required for the second, third, and fourth evolutions. Do you wish to evolve now? Hearing the system notification in my mind, I let out a low, excited roar. The leaves on the nearby trees tremble and fall. This is good, too good. 2 saber-toothed tigers have given me 1,500 growth points and a massive amount of attribute bonuses. I won't evolve immediately. Arthur has also been reborn and is somewhere nearby. Since he was able to send these 2 tigers to scout, it means he himself isn't far away. I must conserve enough power to deal with his surprise attack. In my previous life, he transformed into an ancient beast. He eventually evolved into his ultimate form, becoming one of the most powerful lords under the 10 Beast Kings. In this life, since he has also been reborn, he will surely go to steal the highest level meteorites. I must grow stronger as soon as possible to have the advantage in our confrontation. I scan the environment. After confirming with a mental scan that there are no more ambushes, I head back into the cave. Meanwhile, in a dense forest dozens of miles away, a man of robust build stands atop a massive tree. He stares in my direction, his eyes filled with shadows and a murderous urge to kill. He is Arthur. At the exact moment of the 2 saber-toothed tigers' deaths, he felt it. His expression darkens. So, you've already started your move, haven't you? He found it interesting. Arthur flashes a cruel smile from where he stands. The corner of his lip curls. I didn't expect another reborn soul besides me. He thinks I stole the immortal serpent's chance. Leo, you've become a lord now. A minor character I've never heard of, yet you stole the destiny that should have been mine. We will settle that score slowly. In this southern tropical jungle, the meteorite is waiting. The golden giant python's meteorite is mine. When the time comes, I'll show you true despair. With that, he leaps away, leaving the lives of the 2 tigers behind. The golden giant python's power belongs to me. Soon, you will know what real hopelessness feels like. 3 days passed in the blink of an eye. During this time, I didn't leave the forest. Relying on my mental scan, I swept through the entire virgin forest of the valley. Using the system's infinite absorption, I found every beast mutated early by meteorite radiation. I also tracked down 7 mutant beasts that had just completed their transformation and lost their minds. I devoured them all without leaving a trace. In these 3 days, I grew exponentially. I completed 3 evolutions. Now, I am a primal form with 4 evolutions total. My body length has increased to 30 meters, and I am now as thick as a water barrel. My scales have turned a dark golden color, becoming indestructible. Even an anti-tank cannon couldn't pierce them. My attributes have multiplied several times over. In these 3 days, I also unlocked 2 new skills: water control and infrared thermal vision. Water control lets me double my speed and strength in the water. It also allows me to carry out all my life activities and breathe underwater for a long time. Infrared thermal vision allows me to see through any obstacle to find my prey. I can see through any obstacle, precisely locating the position of my prey even if they are several kilometers away. They cannot escape my scan. During these 3 days, the entire world also changed completely. On a global level, thousands of meteorites fell simultaneously. Innumerable. Humans who came into contact with the meteorites completed their transformation into beasts, becoming all kinds of creatures. The vast majority lost their minds, attacking the meteorites, and other humans with fury. The global catastrophe of the Great Change had officially arrived. The cities fell, order collapsed, communications were cut off, and the power grid collapsed. The entire world plunged into chaos and slaughter. Meanwhile, in the valley, taking advantage of having reborn early, I had already completed 4 evolutions, placing myself at the pinnacle of this catastrophe. That morning, while I was resting in the cave, the mental mark in my mind suddenly received a signal from Ingrid. She is looking for me, and the time has finally come for me to rest. At the edge of the valley, she brought a large amount of supplies with her. My eyes shift. I move my body and head toward the edge of the valley. I want to see what this young lady of the family wants with me. Half an hour later, in an abandoned warehouse at the edge of the valley, I saw Ingrid and Sarah. The warehouse was packed with military supplies, compressed biscuits, mineral water, medicine, ammunition, and even several drones and satellite communication equipment. When Ingrid saw me enter, my 30-meter-long body filled almost the entire warehouse. Far from being scared, her eyes shone with joy, and she approached me quickly. You finally arrived, Ingrid said, looking at me with her beautiful eyes full of a complex light. I knew you would come, I replied, flicking my forked tongue, my cold vertical pupils fixed on her. I watched her while transmitting my thoughts directly into her mind. You were looking for me. For what? And why have you brought so many things? Hearing my voice in her mind, Ingrid trembled all over. She quickly calmed herself and said, I know you are going to the tropical rainforest in the South Province. You are going there to find the meteorite of the giant golden serpent. My eyes narrowed, and my killing intent exploded instantly. The temperature in the entire warehouse dropped to the freezing point. How could she know? This was a memory from my previous life. No one but me should know this. Feeling my killing intent, Ingrid turned pale, but still said calmly, Don't worry, I have no bad intentions. I don't just know about the golden serpent meteorite. I know every meteorite crash site in the country, the location of every powerful mutant beast, even those abroad. As she spoke, she pulled out a reinforced military tablet. She opened a satellite map and placed it in front of me. The map was densely marked with red dots, each red that indicated the level of the meteorite, the time of impact, the energy intensity, and information about nearby mutant beasts. Everything was detailed to the extreme. I looked at the map with eyes full of shock. This map was even more detailed and precise than the information from my previous life. It even marked the crash sites of legendary-type meteorites that I didn't know about. How do you have all this? I asked her coldly. Without hesitation, she replied, The Ingrid Group is the largest company in the country for geographic information and satellite operations. We control 80% of the commercial satellites in the country and have military cooperation permits. Ingrid looked at me seriously. When the animal transformation catastrophe arrived, our group's satellites located everything. Immediately, all the meteorite crash sites in the world and the fluctuations of energy. I know you need these meteorites, that you need to constantly devour and evolve to become stronger. I also know that Ethan was also reborn and has already gone with his people to the South Province to get ahead of you and take the giant golden serpent meteorite. I can help you. I can give you all the information about the meteorites, provide you with weapons, give you cover, help you avoid the official dragnet, and handle everything inconvenient for you. I only have one condition. She looked at me, her beautiful eyes full of determination, and said word for word, I want to go with you and survive this catastrophe with you, my brother, myself, and the rest of the group. We will recognize you as our lord. I looked at her and fell silent for a moment. In my previous life, Ingrid's information network was the best in the country. With her help, I could accurately find all the high-level meteorite locations, avoid all dangers, and save myself a lot of detours. Plus, her resources and contacts would be highly useful. More importantly, she had seen me during my transformation. She knew my secret but told no one. Even when the catastrophe hit, she prepared everything and came looking for me. That trust is rare. Fine, I said, slowly, looking at her. I can take you. But if you dare betray me, I'll show you what it means to live a life worse than death. Hearing my acceptance, a radiant smile lit up Ingrid's face as she nodded vigorously. You can rest easy. I will never betray you in this life, since you saved me. Right now, I am heading to the South Province. I looked at her and said, We can't let Ethan get ahead of us and claim the source stone of the giant golden python. Understood. Ingrid nodded instantly. Half an hour later, 3 modified armored SUVs sped out of the warehouse, racing at full speed toward the South Province. My body lay in the largest vehicle in the middle, hidden perfectly under a special optical camouflage cloth prepared by Ingrid. Ingrid was driving personally, and Marcus sat in the passenger seat, tasked with checking satellite maps to dodge fallen cities occupied by mutant beasts and military cordons. We traveled south like a lightning bolt. Along the way, we witnessed too many human tragedies, destroyed cities, burning houses, corpses lining the streets, and mutant beasts out of control, massacring without end. Occasionally, we saw a survivor, cowering in a corner, trembling with fear, their eyes filled with despair. The animalization catastrophe was even more atrocious than in my past life's memories. Even more cruel, Ingrid watched the landscape outside, pale, gripping the wheel tightly without a word, her nails digging into her palms. I knew she was suffering, but this was reality. From the moment the meteorite fell, the old world died. The new world was the law of the jungle, where the strong eat the weak. Only the powerful survive. On the road, we faced 3 ambushes from mutant beasts and 2 attacks from out-of-control animalized humans. I didn't even have to intervene personally. I only released a fraction of the ancestral dragon's pressure, and those mutant beasts and animalized humans trembled with fear, prostrating themselves on the ground, not daring to move easily. Eliminated by Ingrid's bodyguards. That was the terror of the ancestral dragon's blood. A natural, innate suppression over all scaled creatures and beasts. 2 days later, we finally arrived at the Li River in the South Province. To reach the tropical jungle, we first had to cross the river, but both banks were now completely blocked by the official army. Patrol boats and warships cruised the river, while gunship helicopters circled the sky above, forming an impenetrable wall of fire. Massive pythons and crocodiles had already appeared in the water, mutated by the meteorite radiation and extremely dangerous. Several patrol boats had already been capsized by the mutant pythons, and the soldiers on board had been devoured. The river was blocked by the military and filled with mutant beasts. A detour would take 2 days through devastated cities. I couldn't wait. I lifted the camouflage cloth and my massive snake body slid out. I slid slowly outward. Wait here, I told Ingrid. I'll cross through the river. We meet in 2 hours in the secret forest on the other side. She panicked, fearing the military would spot me and open fire. I smiled slightly. Danger? There aren't many things in this world that can actually hurt me. Don't worry, I said, then jumped into the river without hesitation. The moment I touched the water, my water control ability activated instantly. I could clearly feel that the surrounding currents were under my command. My body moved through the water like a high-speed torpedo, moving even twice as fast as I did on solid ground. The fish and shrimp in the river fled in terror at the sight of such a massive creature, not daring to come near. As I advanced, I scanned the water with infrared thermal vision. I soon discovered that not far ahead of me, 3 mutant anacondas over 10 meters long lay hidden at the bottom, ferociously stalking a patrol boat on the surface while giving off a powerful aura of mutant beasts. It was clear they had touched meteorite fragments and completed their mutation. They were perfect for practice and for earning some growth points. My eyes turned cold. Without hiding at all, I charged directly through the water and stopped right in front of the mutant anacondas, closing the distance rapidly. On the river's surface, they felt my aura and instantly went on alert, fixing their sinister, vertical eyes on me. They could sense that my bloodline was far superior to theirs, feeling an innate pressure from my presence. But greed overcame their fear. The 3 mutant anacondas let out a low roar in unison. They surrounded me from 3 directions, opening their massive maws and revealing razor-sharp fangs. I looked at them with absolute disdain. These 3 pieces of trash actually dare to challenge me? I immediately activated the ancestral dragon's pressure, a terrifying force from the depths of my bloodline. Spread through the water. The ancestral dragon is the lord of all living beings. Every snake and scaled creature must bow down before the pressure of the ancestral dragon. As soon as the 3 mutant anacondas felt that power, they began to tremble violently. Their bodies stiffened instantly, leaving them unable to move. Their eyes filled with extreme terror. They couldn't even conceive the idea of resisting against such absolute bloodline pressure. They didn't even have the right to defend themselves. I advanced slowly toward them. I opened my massive jaws, and one by one, in less than 10 seconds, the 3 mutant anacondas were completely devoured. Asterisk ding. Successfully devoured 3 mutant anacondas. A 20x critical hit was triggered. Asterisk. Asterisk earning 600 growth points. Congratulations. Water control skill upgraded to ultimate. Asterisk. Asterisk underwater speed and strength tripled. Unlimited underwater breathing unlocked. Asterisk. Great. I've unlocked unlimited underwater breathing. Now, I move through the water like I was born in it. Just as I was about to keep moving, voices suddenly drifted down from the surface above my head, along with the sound of a live stream. Perplexed, I used my infrared thermal vision to look up. I saw a small, old-fashioned boat floating right above me. On the surface, aboard the boat, a woman in traditional dress looked pure and extremely beautiful, holding a phone and live streaming to her camera. I watched, completely perplexed. Behind her, the mountainous landscape of the Lijiang River created a picturesque scene. This streamer was named Susan, the most popular outdoor streamer of the moment with over 10 million followers. The beastification disaster had already arrived, and the entire country was plunged into chaos. Yet she still dared to live stream on the Lijiang River. How reckless. Originally, I didn't want to bother with her and planned to keep moving. But just then, the surface of the water churned violently. A mutant electric python over 8 meters long suddenly surged out of the water, opening its massive maws just inches away. It lunged fiercely towards Susan on the boat. A foul wind hit her, and Susan screamed in terror, falling backward onto the boat's deck, pale and trembling all over, unable to even move. Her eyes were filled with despair. In the live stream room, an uproar broke out instantly. The number of online viewers jumped from a few thousand to tens of thousands, and it kept increasing frantically. Seeing the light from the screen and seeing that the python was about to bite Susan, my eyes shifted. In my previous life, after the beastification cataclysm, this Susan used her live streams to gather a huge number of survivors and established the largest survivor base in the southern province. She controlled a vast amount of human and material resources. She was also kind-hearted, saving countless people and enjoying an immense reputation. Saving her life now would bring unexpected rewards in the future. Thinking of this, I didn't hesitate for a second and lunged violently out of the water. My colossal 100-foot body appeared suddenly on the river's surface with an imposing aura, blocking out the sun before everyone's stunned eyes. I opened my massive maws and, with one bite, I clamped down on the python's weak spot and shook my head hard. Crack! The python's neck snapped instantly under my bite. It died on the spot. Next, I coiled my body around hers, squeezed with all my might, and stayed in the water, pulling back with force, crushing her body to pieces before swallowing her in one gulp. Ding! You have successfully devoured the mutant Burmese python. Critical hit multiplier activated. You have obtained 100 growth points. The entire surface of the river fell silent instantly. Susan, on the small boat, was completely paralyzed, her eyes wide open in shock. She stared at me, stunned, forgetting even to scream as tears fell uncontrollably. In the live stream room, comments flooded the screen as night began to fall. The number of online viewers shot past 1 million. Crap, what is that? A 100-foot giant snake with glowing blue scales. It's the mysterious giant snake from the forest. My God, it finished off that 25-foot python in one bite. This is unbelievable. Streamer, run. This giant snake is terrifying. Get out of there. Can't you see it saved her? It's a divine dragon. The chat room was going wild. Hashtag the giant snake appears in the river. Hashtag global beastification is real. 3 hashtags instantly shot to the top of the trending list, exploding across the entire network. Susan finally came to her senses, looking at me. In front of her with my 100-foot body, she trembled with fear, her face pale, unable to even speak. I looked at her, flicking my tongue out slightly, then ignored her and turned around. I was about to dive back into the water to continue my journey through the Shenanjia forest. I was moving forward, but right at that moment, shrill police sirens suddenly echoed across the river. A dozen patrol boats and 2 warships were heading rapidly toward us. In the air, 3 armed helicopters had already arrived, their searchlights locking firmly onto me. An unknown giant creature has been discovered, code name, Divine Dragon. Open fire immediately. I repeat, open fire immediately. The cold order came from the warship. Intense artillery fire rushed toward me frantically, bullets and shells falling like rain. They rained down on me. My eyes turned cold. They arrived just in time to test my current defense. I didn't dodge. I endured all the artillery fire, the bullets, and the shells. Upon impacting my dark gold scales, they bounced off without leaving a single mark. Even the main cannon of the warship, when hitting my body, only managed to make me shake slightly. Nothing remained on my scales but a flash of fire. Not even a white spot was left behind. The soldiers on the warship, seeing this scene, were all completely stunned. Their eyes were full of disbelief. Not even the main cannon can damage it? What kind of monster is this? I looked at them and let out a low roar, activating my skill. I used the tiger's roar intimidation. A terrifying sound wave instantly enveloped the entire river. The soldiers on the ship were shaken by the sound wave, left dizzy and bleeding from their ears and nose. They fell to the ground one after another, losing consciousness. The helicopter began to wobble. The armed helicopter in the air also lost control from the shockwave, wobbling and nearly crashing. I paid them no more attention, turned around, and dove into the water, swimming at high speed. With my ultimate water control skill, my speed was extreme. In less than 10 minutes, I crossed the Lee River and reached the dense forest on the opposite bank. At that moment, total chaos already reigned over the Lee River. Sophie's live stream surpassed 10 million viewers, setting a historical record on the streaming platform. My existence was being discussed frantically across the entire internet. The authorities were completely shocked and immediately created the Supernatural Being Response Administration. It was led personally by the military's goddess of war, General Lane. She was specifically tasked with cornering me and other mutant beasts. I went deep into the thicket and found a hidden spot to wait for Ingrid and Ian to arrive. 2 hours later, Ingrid and Ian arrived at the meeting point, driving a car past the military blockade. Seeing me safe and sound, Ingrid finally let out the breath she had been holding. Her heart finally stopped racing as she looked at me. "Master, what a relief that you're okay," Ingrid said, looking at me with a smile. "You're famous all over the internet now. Everyone is looking for you. The authorities issued a top-level capture order with $1 billion reward." I smiled with indifference. I didn't care. Spiritual energy? It's useless to me on its own. Power is the only foundation for survival. I looked at him and spoke. "Let's leave for the tropical jungle immediately. We've wasted enough time. We must arrive as soon as possible. Marcus must have arrived already." "Yes," Ingrid replied, nodding instantly as she started the car and headed at full speed toward the tropical jungle. 1 day later, we finally reached the edge of the South Province tropical jungle. As soon as we arrived, I said, "Listen, Intense gunfire echoed from the dense forest, along with the roars of mutant beasts. Mixed with human screams, I scanned with my mental power and instantly understood the situation inside. I saw a pair of siblings in the forest being ruthlessly hunted by a giant bull nearly 5 meters tall with burning flames covering its entire body. It was the Hell Bull, a mutant species. In my past life, it was also one of the 10 beast kings, controlling hellfire with extremely terrifying power. And not far away, I felt an extremely familiar aura, the aura of the giant golden serpent. It had already completed its animalization. It was nearby. And furthermore, Marcus's aura was there too. Sure enough, he had already arrived. I told Ingrid, "Wait here, don't go in. It's too dangerous inside. Marcus and the giant golden serpent are there." With that said, without a moment's hesitation, I moved my massive serpent body and went deep into the thicket of the tropical jungle. In the forest, trees hid the sky and blocked the sun. The light was dim, and everywhere there were vines and thorns. The air smelled of blood and gunpowder. The siblings were being hunted by the Hell Bull, in a pitiful state, covered in wounds. Just as they were about to be trampled by the Hell Bull's horns, I shifted my eyes and suddenly lunged forward. My massive serpent tail, with the force of 10,000 tons, violently struck the Hell Bull's body. Bang! With a massive roar, the Hell Bull's 5-meter body was launched directly toward the mountain base. At the impact, it crashed hard against the ground, creating a massive crater while the surrounding trees were knocked down by the vibration. It struggled to stand, looking at me with eyes full of fury and bloodlust, letting out a deafening roar as the hellfire in its mouth burned intensely. At that moment, from the canopy of the forest trees, there came a low hiss. I snapped my head up and saw a giant serpent over 40 meters long with golden scales covering its body, slowly poking its head out with a pair of indifferent vertical pupils. It also knew I was a reincarnator. "Marcus, come out. I want to see the giant golden serpent," I said coldly. Marcus, the giant golden serpent, smiled with contempt. "He is nothing more than a pawn in my hands. Do you think he alone can order me around?" I already felt something was wrong. In my past life, the golden serpent and the immortal boa were blood brothers, and Marcus was their mortal enemy. How had they become allies in this life? Just then, from the dense forest, came the sound of applause. Marcus's figure slowly emerged from behind a tree. He had already completed his beastialization, transforming into a humanoid tiger, nearly 5 meters tall, radiating a terrifying aura. He had completed 5 evolutions, with extremely powerful strength. Behind him followed a dozen bestialized warriors, all of them primal bones with imposing auras. The giant golden serpent rose with a cruel smile played on the corners of his lips. "You didn't expect the idol of your past life to be my ally in this life, did you? Do you think that because you were reborn and stole the immortal boa's chance, you can change your destiny? In your past life, I crushed you with a single step. In this life, I will make you die an even more miserable death. Today is the day you die. Your immortal boa blood and your ancestral dragon inheritance will all be mine." I stared at them with icy eyes, without a hint of fear. In my past life, Marcus crushed me to death. In this life, right here, I will finish him with my own hands. And as for you, giant golden serpent, since you came here voluntarily, I won't be polite. Your absolute defense and your golden blood will be mine today. My massive serpent body rose slowly, and my black gold scales emitted a dazzling glow. An overwhelming killing intent enveloped the entire tropical jungle. Marcus, the giant golden serpent, and the jade divine bull, the 3 most ferocious beasts, approached me at the same time. A terrifying aura was on the verge of crushing the entire forest. A battle that would decide the structure of the future world was about to erupt. And just then, a deafening crash suddenly came from the sky. A thundering roar. Countless meteors, like drops of rain, tore through the firmament and crashed violently against the earth. It was 10,000 times larger than the first meteor shower. The entire sky turned blood red. In my mind, the system suddenly emitted a shrill red alert. Ding! Maximum level red alert. An extraterrestrial beast civilization has locked onto Earth's coordinates. The global beastification is only the prelude to an alien invasion. Dozens of mythic-level beast signatures are detected rapidly approaching Earth. Estimated time of arrival on Earth is 72 hours. Warning, the host's current level is insufficient to face the coming crisis. Please evolve to a mythic body as soon as possible. Otherwise, Earth will fall completely. On the distant sea surface, a dragon's roar shook heaven and earth. It sounded as if it wanted to overturn the entire ocean. A massive dragon over 10,000 meters long, blotting out the sun, broke the surface. A pair of vertical golden pupils, piercing through thousands of miles, locked onto my position. Its eyes were filled with icy slaughter. I watched the meteors falling from the sky. I felt that terrifying aura coming from outer space. I slowly raised my massive serpent head, without a hint of fear in my eyes. Instead, I was filled with extreme excitement. In my past life, I survived by crawling and finally died miserably. In this life, I have the blood of the immortal boa. I have the infinite devouring system and the ancestral dragon inheritance. Not even space beasts can stop me. And even if the gods themselves came, I would devour them all the same. Blood-colored meteors fell like a torrential rain, turning the entire southern tropical jungle into a living hell, shaking the very earth. Searing heat from the stars swept out in every direction. Ancient trees, struck by the meteors, instantly transformed into blazing torches. Thick smoke blanketed the sky and blotted out the sun. I floated at mid-height, my 100-foot black and gold serpent body suspended in the air. I stretched slowly, my scales gleaming with a cold metallic luster under the bloody sky. Hunter, the giant golden serpent, and the blazing hell bull formed a triangle around me. 3 terrifying auras intertwined, creating an impenetrable field of pressure. The pressure was so intense the surrounding trees began to crack. Surrender, Roger. Hunter let out a deafening tiger's roar. His sharp claws carved deep gashes in the ground. Do you really think you can beat all 3 of us alone? Today you die. Steam billowed from the nostrils of the flaming hell bull. The fire wolf's paws clawed tirelessly at the ground, crushing the hard rock to dust. His eyes, burning with hellfire, watched me from the shadows as he emitted a deep growl. His eyes, burning with hellfire, stared fixedly at me while he let out a low, mocking laugh. Ready to deliver the death blow, the giant golden serpent, however, lay coiled silently in the treetop, its 130-foot body shimmering under the glow of the fire. In its indifferent pupils, there wasn't the slightest hint of emotion. He seemed like a mere spectator, but I could clearly feel the aura of unbreakable defense he emanated, several times more powerful than in my previous life. As the fire blazed, the wind began to pick up. I scanned them with a frozen gaze, my serpent tongue flickering rapidly, capturing every bit of information around me. I fully activated my mental scan, not even the slightest movement within. A 10-kilometer radius escaped my perception. Hunter, don't think that just because you brought 2 helpers you can defeat me. My voice, transmitted through my mental power, penetrated directly into their minds, cold and overflowing with contempt. In your previous life, you could only crush me because I had bad luck and awakened the common brown bear lineage. In this life, I possess the lineage of the immortal serpent and the heritage of the progenitor dragon. In my eyes, you are nothing more than a slightly larger cat. Are you looking for death? My words completely infuriated Hunter. Suddenly, he took a massive leap, lunging at me with overwhelming force. His tiger claws flashed with a cold glint, aiming directly at my weak point. At the same time, the flaming hell bull let out a furious roar, and from his mouth erupted a black flare dozens of meters long that swirled toward me. Without dodging or avoiding it, my massive serpent tail lashed out violently. With a sharp hiss, I struck Hunter with full force. A tremendous crash echoed. Hunter was sent flying like a broken kite, soaring hundreds of meters until he slammed into a small hill. The impact caused the entire hill to collapse. Immediately after, I opened my massive jaws and inhaled forward. The black flare swirling toward me was violently absorbed into my stomach. Successful absorption of Hellfire energy. You gain 50 growth points. Congratulations, host. You have obtained the Hellfire domain skill at the initial level. The system's voice echoed in my mind. I was slightly stunned, then I flashed a cold smile. I didn't expect the Hellbull's Hellfire could be absorbed by me. This is getting interesting. The Hellbull, seeing his Hellfire absorbed without difficulty, stood there stunned, filled with disbelief. He couldn't imagine how his precious Hellfire had no effect on me. How is it possible? The Hellbull let out a terrifying roar. My Hellfire can melt even steel. How is it possible that it didn't affect you at all? You dare to show off in front of me with that tiny flame? I said with disdain. Today I'll make you feel what it's like to burn to death by your own fire. Saying this, I opened my jaws wide and a black flame, much thicker and hotter than before, erupted from my mouth toward the sky. I stood my ground as the intense heat surged in every direction, the flames roaring with power. This nightmare will be your end, and your very world will burn away until nothing is left. The heat inside your body is the cause of your death, delivered by the killer action of these flames. The arrogant Hellbull was reduced to a pile of ashes by his own Hellfire, leaving not a single trace behind. You have successfully absorbed the mutant Hellbull, activating a 100x critical hit. You have obtained 10,000 growth points. Congratulations, host. You have gained an attribute increase: strength plus 50, speed plus 40, defense plus 50, constitution plus 60. Congratulations. Your Hellfire domain skill has improved to the advanced level. Congratulations. You have unlocked a new skill, fire immunity. Great. Incredible. A single mutant has provided me with 10,000 growth points, plus so many attribute increases and new skills. I turned my gaze toward the massive golden toad at the treetop, a flash of murderous coldness shining in my eyes. Now it's your turn. But right then, I suddenly realized that in the giant golden toad's eyes, there was a flash of pain and struggle. Its body trembled slightly, as if it were resisting something with all its strength. Something wasn't right. I abruptly stopped my attack, and my spiritual energy instantly invaded the mind of the giant golden toad. A second later, I saw something that left me stunned. Deep within, the giant golden toad's soul was a black mark constantly eroding its spirit. That mark emitted an extremely evil, extremely cold energy, identical to the energy of Austin. So that was it. The giant golden toad hadn't allied with Austin voluntarily. It was being controlled by him through some malicious method. Austin, you are despicable. I snapped my head around and glared at Austin, who had just emerged from the rubble. The killing intent in my eyes nearly overflowed. How dare you control the giant golden toad with a soul mark? Do you not fear divine punishment? Austin wiped the blood from the corner of his lips, a cruel smile appearing on his face. Despicable? In this world, where the strong prevail, only the victor has the right to speak. As long as I can kill you, I don't care about controlling the golden toad or even killing everyone who stands in my way. Golden toad, attack. Kill him. Austin screamed at the giant golden toad, letting out a roar while simultaneously activating the soul mark. The giant golden toad let out a cry of pain. Its body, out of control, lunged toward me. It opened its massive maw, bearing sharp fangs, and pounced to bite my neck. Seeing its look of agony, I felt a pang of compassion. In my previous life, the giant golden toad was the immortal serpent's greatest brother, together saving countless survivors. In this life, I can't let Austin control him and turn him into a killing tool. Wake up, golden toad. I let out a deafening roar. At the same time, I injected a stream of pure ancestral dragon energy into the mind of the giant golden toad. Ancestral dragon energy is the purest and most powerful in the world, capable of purifying all evil. That black soul mark, under the flow of the ancestral dragon energy, began to dissolve and fade away. The giant golden toad's eyes gradually regained their clarity, and the struggle and pain vanished. He looked at me with gratitude, letting out a low, resonant croak, acknowledging me as his ally. The giant golden toad was finally free from the darkness, ready to stand by my side and face the one who had enslaved him. Seeing that the giant golden toad had broken free from his control, Austin turned pale instantly. He never imagined I could break his soul mark. Impossible. This is impossible. My soul mark is invincible. No one can break it. Austin screamed desperately. He turned around to flee, but how could he escape? Both the giant golden toad and I chased him, one in front and one behind, cornering him in the middle. Austin, you can't escape, I said coldly. In my previous life, you killed me, destroyed my city, and killed everyone I protected. In this life, I'll make you pay in blood. Golden toad, let's attack together. Kill him. The giant golden toad nodded, his eyes filled with bloodlust. We both attacked at the same time. My massive serpent body coiled, squeezing Austin's body with immense force. The giant golden toad opened his massive maw and bit into Austin's neck. Austin let out a desperate roar, struggling violently, but his strength seemed insignificant against our combined power. Crunch, crunch, crunch. The sound of bones breaking echoed as Austin's ribs snapped one by one under my crushing pressure. His internal organs were pulverized. The giant golden toad's fangs pierced his throat, injecting lethal venom instantly. In less than 10 seconds, Austin's struggle weakened until he went limp. He finally stopped breathing. I opened my maw and swallowed Austin's corpse whole. Ding! You have successfully devoured the ancient seed, the South China Tiger. Austin activated. A 1,000-fold critical hit. You have obtained 100,000 growth points. Congratulations. Host, you have obtained all of Austin's memories. A terrifying energy instantly invaded my entire body. My frame began to lengthen frantically. My scales became harder, and their color shifted from dark gold to a pure, brilliant gold. My length skyrocketed from 30 meters to 50 meters. My body as robust as a locomotive. Austin's memories flooded my mind like a tide. Finally, I knew all of his plans. After his rebirth, it turns out Austin didn't just be reborn, he also obtained an evil system. This system allowed him to devour the souls of other mutant animals to gain their abilities and memories, and he could also control other mutants. He controlled the giant golden toad to exploit its absolute defense and help him steal more top-tier meteorites. Next, he planned to devour the giant golden toad to take its ability. He also planned, once he was strong enough, to unify all of China, then conquer the entire world and become the sole sovereign of the earth. Too bad for him. He ran into me. I raised my head to look at the giant golden toad. He stared back at me without the slightest hint of hostility. On the contrary, he was full of gratitude. Thank you, Felix, the giant golden toad said in a voice deep and sincere. If it weren't for you, I fear Austin would have used me until I was dead. I looked at him, realizing he saw me as a fellow being, not just a monster or a tool. The giant golden toad looked perplexed for a moment, then a flash of surprise crossed his eyes. Previous life? You also remember things from a previous life? That's right, I nodded. I was reborn the day before the animal mutation began and seized the immortal serpent meteorite. So that was it, the golden toad realized. That's why you were so timely. By the way, the red alert that sounded in the system a moment ago, you heard it too, right? The beast civilization from the outer domain will arrive on Earth in 72 hours. I heard it, I said with a serious expression. The global mutation is only the prelude to an alien invasion. Those outer domain beasts are much more powerful than we imagine. That 10,000-meter long dark dragon we saw a moment ago is just their scout. Then what do we do now? The golden toad asked with concern. With our current strength, we're no match for them. Don't worry, I smiled confidently. I have the infinite devour system. As long as I have time, I can become strong enough. Besides, we have allies. Just then, I sensed India and Sophie heading here with a dozen armed guards. We're going out to meet them, I said. Then we'll discuss how to face this imminent crisis. The golden toad nodded, and we headed to the jungle's edge. Emerging from the dense forest, we saw India and Sophie waiting anxiously. Seeing me safe, India's heart finally calmed, but when she saw the giant golden toad beside me, her face turned pale. She instinctively hid behind me. "Master, what is that?" India asked with a trembling voice. "Don't be afraid," I said, smiling. "He's our ally now." Ally. India looked at me in confusion. I briefly told her what happened. After hearing it, she calmed down and bowed slightly to the golden toad. "Greetings, Mr. Golden Toad." The toad nodded back. "Master, something serious just happened outside," India said gravely. "A massive meteorite shower has hit worldwide. Countless outer domain beasts have already begun descending to Earth. The official armies are defenseless against them. Many cities have already fallen completely. Furthermore, that 10,000-meter-long dark dragon just destroyed 3 coastal cities. The official Supernatural Response Administration has already sent out a global distress signal." I nodded. I expected as much. The system's red alert was no joke. "Contact General Dragon immediately." I told India, "Tell him I'm willing to cooperate with the government to fight these beasts together, but the government must follow my orders." India nodded immediately, took out the satellite communication equipment, and contacted General Dragon. In less than 10 minutes, the connection was established. A woman in a military uniform appeared on the screen, looking energetic and gallant. She was the director, General Dragon. She saw me, and a flash of surprise crossed her eyes, but she quickly regained her composure. "Felix, I know you," she said, getting straight to the point. "I know everything you did in the city. I'm glad you're willing to cooperate, but having the government follow your orders is impossible. The government has its own rules and systems." "Director, this is no time for rules or systems," I said coldly. "Those beasts are more powerful than you imagine. If you keep fighting your way, in less than 3 days, all of Earth will fall. Only by following my orders will we have a slim chance of survival." "By what right do you say that?" she replied indignant. "We have the most advanced weapons and elite armies. Can't we defeat these monsters?" "Your weapons can't even pierce my spiritual hide," I said with disdain. "Even your nuclear bombs couldn't kill that massive armored dragon from earlier. If you don't believe me, you can try." Her face darkened. She knew I was telling the truth. When that armored dragon appeared, the government launched an intercontinental missile, but it didn't even scratch its skin. Instead, the dragon reduced the entire missile base to ashes with a single breath. "Fine," she said, gritting her teeth. "I can accept it. During the fight against these beasts, all military and administration members will follow your orders. But if you try any tricks, I'll make you pay with your life." "Relax," I said indifferently. "I don't want to rule Earth. I only want to protect my own and drive these beasts off the planet." "Fine," General Dragon nodded. "I'll mobilize the armies to your location. Tell me your plan." "First, evacuate all coastal residents inland immediately," I said seriously. "That dark dragon is an aquatic creature. It will strike the coasts first. Second, deploy all heavy and nuclear weapons to the Himalayas. It's the highest point and our best line of defense against the outer domain beasts. The more these beasts kill, the more they hunger. We must force them into a bottleneck where we hold the advantage. I need to secure the resources in the department to improve my power, and I'll deal with those who think they are supreme beings. If they take advantage of the chaos to harm humanity, I will personally intervene and kill them." "Understood. I'll do it immediately." General Dragon nodded, beginning to issue orders at once. After hanging up, I turned to India and the giant golden toad. "India, contact Marcus." "Immediately," I said. "Tell him to move his survivor base to the Himalayan mountain range. Tell him I'll send people to protect them." India nodded immediately. "Golden Toad, go to the Amazon rainforest right now," I commanded. "There is a top-tier meteorite there from a legendary beast, the origin stone of a King Kong. In my previous life, that King Kong was one of the 10 beast kings with terrifying power. Go there, find that meteorite, and guard it until I arrive. If anyone dares to steal it, kill them without mercy." The Golden Toad nodded and headed into the forest toward the Amazon. After organizing everything, I, along with India and Sophie, also headed toward the Himalayan mountain range. On the way, we saw more human tragedies. Countless cities had been destroyed by the outer domain beasts. Everywhere there were corpses and ruins. These beasts took many forms. Some looked like giant spiders, others like lions with wings, and others like octopuses covered in tentacles. They razed everything in their path, leaving not a blade of grass behind. On my way, I killed countless alien beasts, obtaining a massive amount of growth points and new skills. My power is also increasing at a breakneck speed. 3 days later, we finally reached the Himalayan mountain range. By then, the Himalayas had become a massive military base. Countless troops and survivors were gathered there, with all kinds of heavy weapons deployed densely across every corner of the range. General Dragon and Jason were already waiting for us there. Seeing me arrive, General Dragon and Jason approached immediately. "Leo, you've arrived," said General Dragon. "All the troops and survivors have already been moved here. We've also collected some meteorite fragments. They are on their way." "Good," I nodded. "Now, how much time until the main fleet of outer domain beasts arrives?" "Less than 12 hours, General Dragon said with a grave face. "The satellite just detected a massive alien fleet approaching Earth rapidly. It is estimated that in 12 hours it will reach Earth's orbit." "And the projection beast?" I asked. "It has been circling over the Pacific Ocean without attacking again. Jason said, "It seems it's waiting for something. It's waiting for its main fleet," I said indifferently. "As soon as the main fleet arrives, they will launch a total attack against Earth. So what do we do now?" Jason asked with concern. "Can we beat them?" "Relax," I smiled confidently. "With me here, they won't even be able to set foot on the Himalayan mountain range." At that moment, in my mind, the system notification rang again. Ding. Host is detected to currently possess growth points. 150,000 points. You meet the growth points required for the 10th evolution. Do you wish to evolve now? Finally, I can evolve. Evolve now, I muttered to myself. Ding. The 10th evolution begins. 100,000 growth points consumed. Evolution in progress. My body began to grow uncontrollably. 100 meters, 1,000 meters, 10,000 meters, 100,000 meters. In the blink of an eye, I turned into a monster of the earth, towering over the landscape. I transformed into a giant dragon over 100,000 meters long. My colossal body covered the sky and the sun, being larger than the entire Himalayan mountain range. I opened my massive jaws and bit the neck of the Sakura dragon in a single mouthful. The Sakura dragon let out a desperate scream. It struggled with fury, but its power, compared to mine, was insignificant. Suddenly, I shook my head with force, slamming the Sakura dragon's body violently against the ground. A deafening roar was heard, and the entire earth began to tremble violently. The Sakura dragon's body had created a massive crater several kilometers deep in the ground. Immediately after, I clenched my fangs hard, snapping the Sakura dragon's neck. With violence, ding. You have successfully devoured the legendary species Sakura dragon. A 10,000x critical hit is activated. You obtain 10 million growth points. Ding. Congratulations, host. The concentration of ancestral dragon blood has increased to 100%. You have unlocked the complete true body of the ancestral dragon. Ding. Congratulations, host. You have unlocked a new skill. The word is essence. A terrifying power, indescribable with words, instantly flooded my entire body. I felt that force within me, capable of destroying a planet. My heart filled with unprecedented confidence. Now, I am the guardian god of Earth. I looked up at the alien fleet in the sky, and a flash of icy killing intent gleamed in my eyes. Listen, all you alien beasts. My voice, through the skill, the word as essence, spread across the entire Earth. Get off this planet right now, or you will be executed without mercy. The alien beasts inside those ships, seeing me kill the Sakura dragon in a single bite, were already terrified. Hearing my words, how would they dare to stay? They immediately turned their ships to flee. Flee. It's too late. I left not a single trace. Ding. You have successfully devoured the alien fleet. You obtained 50 million growth points. Ding. Congratulations, host. You have obtained the alien technological heritage. The entire Earth fell silent instantly. Everyone looked up at the massive figure of the seven-colored ancestral dragon in the sky. Their eyes were full of awe and gratitude. We won. We won. It was the divine dragon who saved us. We won. Long live the divine dragon. Cheers echoed throughout the Himalayan mountain range and spread across the entire Earth. I landed slowly on the ground and transformed into a snake 100 meters long, in the form of a giant seven-colored snake. General Drake said sincerely, "If it weren't for you, Earth would be lost." "Don't mention it," I said with indifference. "Protecting Earth is what I must do. However, we cannot lower our guard." I changed my tone and said with a serious face, "What we just destroyed was only an advanced detachment of the alien beast civilization. Their main civilization is much more powerful than we imagine. In a short time, they will send much more powerful armies to attack Earth." Everyone's faces turned grim instantly. "What do we do now?" Jasmine asked worriedly. "Don't worry," I said, smiling. "I have already obtained the alien technology heritage and the system. With infinite absorption and enough time, we can build a powerful army and develop advanced weapons. By then, even if the main force of the alien beast civilization arrives, we will be able to destroy them completely. I also sense many other planets in the universe, like ours, that have been invaded by these alien beasts. We can contact them and form an alliance to fight against the alien beast civilization together." Everyone nodded, their eyes filled with hope. In the following days, Earth entered a phase of rapid development. I used the alien technology heritage to help humanity develop more advanced weapons and ships. Gary, in turn, used his information network to contact all survivors and beastmen across the world, forming a powerful Earth defense force. The giant golden ant also returned from the Amazon rainforest, bringing the legendary King Kong with him. King Kong joined our ranks and became a member of the Earth Defense Force. Meanwhile, Susan was in charge of managing the survivor base, ensuring everyone's well-being. General Drake took charge of training the army and improving their combat capabilities. And I, meanwhile, continued devouring all kinds of beasts and alien beast corpses, constantly increasing my strength. My evolution level rose from the first stage of the mythical body to the 5th stage. My power had become so strong that I could destroy a planet with ease. One day, while I was cultivating at the summit of the Himalayas, the system suddenly issued a shrill alarm. Ding! Maximum level red alert. The main fleet of the alien beast civilization has locked onto Earth's coordinates. They are expected to arrive into the solar system in 72 hours. Dozens of mythical-level beast auras detected, including 3 divine king-level beast auras. I snapped my eyes open and stared into the depths of the distant universe. There, I felt an extremely terrifying and evil aura rapidly approaching. Those are the divine kings of the alien beast civilization. They have finally arrived. I stood up slowly, my 100-meter-long giant serpent body shining dazzlingly under the sun. In my eyes, there wasn't a hint of fear, but extreme excitement. "Come," I said in a low voice, my tone full of confidence. "No matter how many come, or how strong they are, I will devour them all. This time, I won't just defend Earth, I will lead the Earth Alliance to attack the alien beast civilization's nest and eliminate them completely. The peace of the universe will be protected by me." In the depths of the distant universe, an alien fleet 10,000 times larger than the previous one was heading at faster-than-light speed toward the solar system. At the front of the fleet were 3 enormous divine king-level ships. On each ship stood 3 terrifying beasts of different forms. They are the 3 great divine kings of the alien beast civilization. Earth dared to destroy our advanced detachment and killed Lord Silas. One of them, a 3-headed hellhound divine king, emitted a deep growl. "When we reach Earth, we will tear all earthly beings to pieces." "That's right," said coldly another divine king, a phoenix wrapped in black flames. "I'm going to burn Earth into a wasteland so they know the price of resisting our alien beast civilization." The third deity, an octopus with countless tentacles, watched in silence. With flashes of wisdom in its eyes, the octopus king spoke slowly. "Don't be overconfident. That earthling, Leo, killed Silas, proving he isn't weak. Besides, he possesses a power that cannot be easily erased. He carries the aura of the ancestral dragon. The ancestral dragon is the natural enemy of our alien beast civilization." "Natural enemy?" the Hellhound King said, with disdain. "Those are old wives' tales. The ancestral dragon is already extinct. Even if he has a trace of its blood, he's no match for us 3 great kings." "I hope so," the Octopus King said indifferently. "In short, we must be cautious and ensure that we fulfill our destiny as the ones who guide our race to life and victory. I am already prepared. I will lead the Earth Alliance to face the 3 great kings of the alien beast civilization." 72 hours passed in an instant. Over the Himalayan mountain range, the once clear sky was suddenly covered by sinister, blackish-purple clouds, and inside the clouds, lightning and thunder crashed. Waves of terrifying energy swept through, like tsunamis, making the entire mountain range tremble. Every soldier of the Earth Defense Corps gripped their weapons, their grave gazes fixed on the sky. General Drake, at the top of the command tower, frowned while firmly holding the communicator. "Attention, all units. The enemy fleet has entered the solar system. They are expected to reach Earth's orbit in 10 minutes. Activate all anti-aircraft systems and energy shields to the maximum. All Guardian troops to your combat stations." The orders went out from the command tower. The entire Himalayan range instantly transformed into a gigantic war fortress. Countless cannons pointed at the sky as the energy shield formed a massive blue dome over the mountain range. I floated in the air as a giant serpent, 100 meters long with 7 colors, my body stretching sinuously. Behind me, the giant golden serpent, King Kong, and the best guardians from around the world lined up to form an unbreakable defense. Arthur stood on the ground, holding a satellite communicator. He looked up at me, his eyes filled with worry, telling me he couldn't bear to continue down this path of war. I said nothing. My mental energy had already spread across the solar system, sensing them clearly. Those 3 massive alien fleets approaching Earth at faster-than-light speeds. At the front, 3 terrifying auras pressed down like mountains. These were the 3 great kings of the alien beast civilization, the Hellhound King, the Phoenix King, and the Octopus King. "They're here," I whispered. As I spoke, the purple clouds over Earth were torn open. Through the massive gap, countless alien ships emerged like a swarm of locusts, blotting out the sky and the sun. The cannons on those ships shone with a cold glint, aimed directly at the Himalayan range on Earth. Immediately, 3 enormous figures emerged slowly from the fleet. To the left was a 3-headed hellhound, over 10,000 meters long. Its 3 heads spat fire, ice, and poison. Its entire body was covered in black armor, and its blood-red eyes stared at me intently, radiating a bloodthirsty glow. In the center was a phoenix wrapped in black flames, its wingspan exceeding 10,000 meters. Wherever the black flames passed, space itself distorted. Its gaze was cold and arrogant, as if nothing in the world deserved its attention. To the right was a giant octopus with countless tentacles, its body hidden among the clouds. The dark clouds only revealed massive, churning tentacles while its eyes glowed with ancient wisdom. It was impossible to guess its thoughts. These were the 3 great kings of the alien beast civilization. Each possessed power enough to destroy the world. "Humble earthlings," they sneered. "Do you dare resist the great alien beast civilization?" The center head of the Hellhound King let out a deafening roar. "Today I will exterminate you all and turn Earth into our colony." Stop talking, I said coldly. My voice, empowered by the word of law, echoed across the entire sky. Terrifying energy beams shot toward me. Fire, ice, and poison. These three energy streams intertwined, forming an attack capable of destroying the world, shattering space itself as they passed. I didn't move or dodge. Suddenly, I activated my Heaven and Earth Devour skill. A massive black hole appeared in front of me, where the three terrifying pillars of energy were instantly swallowed by the void without even causing a ripple. I successfully devoured the king's attack. I gained 100,000 growth points, seeing his own attack devoured so easily by me. The Hellhound King stood stunned, his eyes filled with disbelief. How is this possible? My attack can destroy a planet. How could you devour it? Nothing is impossible, I said. Indifferently, in front of me, all your attacks are useless. Don't think you're a big deal just for devouring my strike, the Hellhound King growled. Brothers, attack together. Kill him. The Phoenix and Octopus Kings nodded. At that moment, the Phoenix King beat its wings violently, and infinite black flames like raindrops shot toward the Earth Defense Forces on the ground. The Octopus King, for his part, lashed out with his countless tentacles, striking at me, the Golden Serpent and King Kong. Golden Serpent, handle the Hellhound King. King Kong, stop those black flames. The rest of you, protect the humans on the ground. I ordered immediately. Understood, they replied. At the same time, the Golden Serpent and King Kong launched their attacks. The Octopus King lashed out at me. King Kong charged forward. The Golden Serpent, with its 40-meter golden body, leaped and pounced on the Hellhound King. Its golden scales, indestructible and shining brightly under the sun, tore through the very air as it moved. King Kong roared with fury and slammed both fists into the ground, lifting massive rocks. These formed a giant stone wall that stopped the black flames. The other beast warriors also joined the fray, clashing with the alien beasts emerging from the extraterrestrial ship. For a moment, the entire sky became a battlefield. Explosions, roars, and screams of pain mixed into a deafening din. I, for my part, headed toward the Octopus King. When he saw me coming, a golden flash gleamed in his eyes. He waved his countless tentacles and lashed at me with force. Each of those tentacles was over 1,000 meters long, incredibly thick, and covered in sharp suckers. If they entangled me, I'd be crushed. I beat my wings violently and, like a ghost, dodged the attack of the tentacles. At the same time, I opened my jaws and exhaled a 7-colored dragon breath, firing it directly at the Octopus King. He quickly used his tentacles to shield himself. The 7-colored dragon breath slammed into the Octopus King's tentacles with massive force, producing a deafening crash. The Octopus King's tentacles were instantly blown open, creating a massive wound from which dark green blood gushed out like a geyser. I successfully wounded the Octopus King and gained 500,000 growth points. Feeling the pain, the Octopus King let out a furious roar. His wound healed rapidly at a visible speed. At the same time, more tentacles erupted from his body and attacked me with fury. The Octopus King and I were in a full-blown battle. Our combat was extremely intense. Each clash generated massive energy shockwaves that distorted and warped the surrounding space. Any alien ships or extraterrestrial beasts that drew near were shredded by our energy shockwaves. Our struggle lasted for a full hour. The Golden Serpent and the Hellhound King fought fiercely, neither able to gain the upper hand. The absolute defense of the Golden Serpent rendered the Hellhound King's attacks completely useless, but the Hellhound King's recovery ability was also incredible. It didn't matter how the Golden Serpent attacked, he healed instantly. King Kong, for his part, struggled against the Phoenix King's black flames. Those black flames were terrifyingly powerful. They could even burn King Kong's skin. Though King Kong was brave, he was slowly losing ground. The battle on the ground was also terribly bloody. Even though the soldiers of the Earth Defense Forces were very brave, the strength of the extraterrestrial beasts was too great. Soldiers and beast warriors fell constantly. Blood stained the entire Himalayan mountain range. Seeing this, my heart filled with anguish. If we continue like this, even if we eventually win, we will pay an extremely high price. I must end this fast. I spoke with eyes shining with determination and decided to use my trump card, True Form of the Ancestral Dragon. I roared, activating the full power of my true form. My body began to grow colossally to 100 meters, 1,000 meters, 10,000 meters, 100,000 meters. In an instant, I grew to 1,000,000 meters and transformed into a 7-colored ancestral dragon. My body stretched over 1,000,000 meters long, my massive form eclipsing the sky and the sun. The extreme pressure of the ancestral dragon emanated from me, sweeping across the entire solar system. Every extraterrestrial beast fell to its knees involuntarily, trembling uncontrollably and unable to move. The Hellhound King, the Phoenix King, and the Octopus King also felt this terrifying pressure. Their faces turned pale instantly. The ancestral dragon, they gasped. It's the true form of the ancestral dragon. The Octopus King screamed, his eyes filled with fear. Impossible. The ancestral dragon was supposed to be extinct. The Hellhound King cried out in terror. The Phoenix King also trembled violently, a complex light flashing in his eyes. I looked down at them, a flash of icy killing intent appearing in my eyes. Now this must end. I opened my massive mouth and activated the Heaven and Earth Devourer skill. A gigantic black hole appeared in the sky, and a powerful suction force instantly swept the battlefield. Countless alien ships and beasts from the outer domain were sucked into the black hole without a trace. The Hellhound King, the Phoenix King, and the Octopus King also stumbled, losing their balance. They were unstable, caught in the overwhelming suction force of the black hole. No, I don't want to die, the Hellhound King roared in despair, resisting with all his might. He fought against the pull of the black hole, but his strength was failing him. The Phoenix King and the Octopus King also resisted with everything they had. But their resistance was insignificant to me. I sharply increased the suction force. The Hellhound King was the first to break. His body was sucked into the black hole bit by bit. Into the black hole. Phoenix, Octopus, save me, the Hellhound King screamed in despair. But the Phoenix King and the Octopus King could barely save themselves, with no time to help him. Finally, the Hellhound King was completely sucked into the black hole. Ding! Successfully devoured the Hellhound King and the 3 Hellhounds. A 100,000-fold critical hit was activated. 11 growth points obtained. Congratulations. The host's ancestral dragon blood concentration has exceeded the critical threshold. The ancestral dragon talent is unlocked, immune to all arts. Congratulations, all of the host's skill levels have exceeded the limit and ascended to divine level. At the instant, that mechanical voice resonated in my mind. A terrifying force, much greater than before, flowed through my blood until it flooded my entire body. Over my true million-meter-long multicolored ancestral dragon body, mysterious golden runes appeared, each containing the power of the law of devouring all things. The Octopus King, floating nearby, saw that the Hellhound King hadn't lasted even 10 seconds before being completely devoured, and he instantly tensed. His countless tentacles, dark green blood dripped from his suction cups. The arrogance in his eyes transformed completely into extreme terror. He never imagined that 3 united divine kings would lose one in just an hour, and the Phoenix King, who was originally fighting by his side, slowly began extinguishing the black flames on his body. A pair of phoenix eyes, burning with somber fire, stared fixedly at the Octopus King. Those phoenix eyes were cold and clear. His voice didn't have a hint of warmth. Betrayal. From the beginning, I was never part of the Divine King's court. That year, the great ancestral dragon gave a teaching, sealing the Chaos Lord of the outer domain. You traitors are the ones who have been the most brazen. You allied with the Chaos Lord, massacring countless civilizations. This debt must also be settled. My heart shuddered violently. Chaos Lord, ancestral dragon teaching. These were secrets I had never heard, not in my previous life, nor in this one. But I could clearly feel that the Phoenix King's fire, though black, had no evil aura, but rather contained a faint trace of holiness. And just then, the Octopus King suddenly let out a mad, mocking laugh. His entire body exploded violently. Phoenix, who was the king of kings, went to the House of the Sword, but there was nothing to be done. He hadn't chosen to fight me directly, but to self-destruct his avatar to cover the escape of his main body. But he forgot that I have now awakened the ancestral dragon talent, immune to all arts. Besides, I have a divine-level mental scan. Within a radius of 1,000,000 kilometers, not even the movement of a speck of dust can escape my perception. Wanna run? Too late. I violently shook my dragon wings that covered the sky. The sensation activated instantly. Stillness. As I spoke that word, the entire space solidified instantly. Those tentacles that were shooting out and the main body of the Octopus King, about to dive into the void, were all firmly frozen in place, unable to move even an inch. In the Octopus King's eyes, total despair appeared for the first time. He never imagined that I had already become strong enough to dominate the laws of space. I slowly opened my massive mouth. The black hole appeared again. A terrifying suction force instantly devoured his main body completely along with everything else. Along with all the tentacles. Ding. Successful devour of the Divine King level Void Octopus. Activated. A 1,000,000-fold critical hit. Obtained 5 billion growth points. Congratulations. The host has unlocked full mastery of the law of space. Congratulations. The host's evolution level has ascended to the 10th evolution of the divine body, fulfilling the conditions to break through to the Divine King body. Do you wish to break through immediately? Before the system prompt finished sounding, I felt it in the distant void. A malicious aura, 100 times more terrifying than the 3 Divine Kings combined, was approaching with fury. That aura was cold and violent, as if it wanted to drag the entire universe into chaos. The Divine Phoenix King's feathers bristled instantly, letting out an urgent phoenix cry. No, the Chaos Lord has broken the seal. That year, the great ancestral dragon sealed it with his life. But those 3 traitors undid it. And just then, dark purple clouds covering the entire sky instantly turned into a thick, blood-red color. A gigantic demonic shadow emerged slowly from the rift of the void. His body was infinite. Just one of his eyes was vaster than the earth itself. It was the Chaos Lord. His blood-colored vertical pupils locked onto me firmly, letting out a soul-shattering, thunderous laugh. I never imagined that the old ancestral dragon, dead for so many years, would still have an heir. Perfect. By devouring A descendant, I will be able to completely control this universe. Before he finished his words, he suddenly extended a demonic claw that hid the sky and the sun, lunging fiercely toward the earth. In that claw, chaos artifacts coiled, and wherever it passed, the stars crumbled. The void trembled. If that claw were to land, the entire earth would instantly become cosmic dust. General Dragon, Arthur, and the others on the ground felt that terrifying presence, their faces turning pale in an instant. Breathing became extremely difficult, but none retreated. They all gripped their weapons, staring fixedly at the demonic shadow in the sky. Behind them were countless survivors, the home they had to protect. I watched the lunging claw without the slightest fear in my eyes. On the contrary, an irrepressible battle fervor ignited within me. In my previous life, I survived by crawling for half a century, dying miserably under the feet of Silas. In this life, I emerged from the Shinnon Valley, swallowing the primordial stone of death, with the near-infinite devour system, devouring and evolving all the way to the earth. You want to step over me? I let out a dragon roar that shook the universe. My million-meter seven-colored dragon body lunged to meet it, pushing the ancestral dragon's true form to the maximum, fully activating the gift of immunity to all magic. The golden runes on my body erupted in a dazzling glow. I opened my massive mouth, pushing the heaven and earth devour skill to an extreme never before reached. A black hole, 10,000 times vaster than before, appeared instantly in the universe, stopping the Chaos Lord's demonic claw with force. A deafening roar followed as the claw and the black hole collided violently. The entire solar system shook with violence. The surrounding asteroids were instantly pulverized by the shockwave generated by the clash of both forces. The Chaos Lord let out a roar of surprise and fury. How is this possible? You are nothing but a brat who just awakened the ancestral dragon blood. How could you block my attack? He never imagined that I, in the mythic body realm, could directly resist a strike from his divine king pinnacle. But he didn't know my infinite devour system can devour all things and convert them into my own power. From his previous strike, half the energy of the chaos artifact it contained had already been devoured by my black hole, converted into my growth points. Ding. Successful devour of chaos artifact. You have obtained 110 growth points, detecting that the host currently meets all growth point requirements to break through to the divine king body. Do you wish to break through immediately? Breakthrough now. I roared in my mind. Ding. Initiating breakthrough to divine king body, consuming 110 growth points. Breakthrough started. Instantly, an indescribable, terrifying power erupted inside my body. My body expanded again, from 1 million meters to 10 million meters. My scales turned from 7 colors to a pure purple gold, and on every scale, the complete laws of the universe were engraved. A second pair of dragon horns grew on my head. My dragon wings on my back also became 4 pairs, and with every flap, I could travel between galaxies and cross time and space. Ding. Breakthrough successful. Congratulations, host. You have ascended to the divine king body. Ding. Ancestral dragon blood concentration has reached 100%. Complete ancestral dragon inheritance unlocked. Ding. Congratulations, host. You have unlocked the ultimate skill, Ancestral Dragon Heaven Devour. An unprecedented power filled every fiber of my body. In that moment, with a single thought, I could create or destroy stars in reverse time and space. The Chaos Lord felt the surge of my aura, and for the first time, fear appeared in his eyes. He finally understood. He wasn't dealing with a brat, but a true ancestral dragon about to ascend. No, it's impossible. The ancestral dragon is dead. You can't reach this level, he thought frantically, gathering all the chaos artifacts in his body and making them explode completely, revealing his full form as he lunged toward me. He was using all his strength to eliminate me before I could fully control my power. But now, before my eyes, he is nothing more than a slightly larger ant. I look at the charging Chaos Lord with total disdain in my eyes. In my previous life, you killed the ancestral dragon and slaughtered countless civilizations. You manipulated beasts from the outside to control the universe. In this life, I will deliver justice in the name of heaven for every being you tortured. The ancestral dragon is the heavens. I roared with fury, and my ultimate skill activated instantly. The entire universe seemed to freeze in that moment. A limitless black hole appeared in the void, covering the Chaos Lord's entire body with a terrifying absorption power. It tore his body apart violently, dissolving his chaotic energy. The Chaos Lord let out a desperate scream after another, struggling to break free, but it was all in vain. His power, his body, and his soul were being devoured by me bit by bit. In less than 10 seconds, the arrogant Chaos Lord was completely devoured by me, leaving not a shred of his soul. Successful devour of the Chaos Lord. Double critical hit activated. You have obtained 11,001 growth points. Congratulations, host. You have attained the body of the universe and become the supreme guardian of this universe. Ding. Congratulations, host. You have unlocked the ultimate passive, universal symbiosis. The host coexists with this universe. If the universe is not destroyed, the host does not die. The moment the system notification sounded, the blood clouds in the sky vanished instantly, and the blinding sun illuminated the entire Earth once more. The remaining alien ships in the sky, seeing the Chaos Lord devoured by me in a single bite, panicked and turned their ships to flee. I shot them a cold look, activated my technique, and attacked again. All the outer beasts that invaded Earth were annihilated. With a single word, those fleeing alien ships disintegrated instantly, turning into cosmic dust. Even the outer beasts, still fighting on Earth, vanished into ashes instantly. The battle was over. I slowly retracted my true ancestral dragon form, returning to the shape of a 100-meter-long, 7-colored giant snake, and landed atop the Himalayan mountain range. Iris, Logan, Yasir, the golden giant snake, King Kong, and all the survivors gathered around me, bowing deeply before me. Cheers echoed throughout the entire mountain range and spread across the whole Earth. We won. Earth is safe. It is the Ancestral Dragon Lord. The Ancestral Dragon Lord has saved us. Iris looked at me with tears and joy in her eyes. She reached out and gently touched my scales, her voice trembling. Master, you did it. I gently rubbed my head against her hand, transmitting my mental energy into her mind. I told you I would protect the Earth, that I would protect all of you. In the following days, Earth experienced true peace. I used the alien technology and the laws of the universe I had devoured to repair the wounds of war on Earth, bringing life back to the destroyed cities. Those who had lost their minds during the animalization catastrophe, under the purification of my ancestral dragon power, regained their sanity and coexisted peacefully with humans. The Inuru group rebuilt the global communication network, reconnecting the human world that had disintegrated. The Earth Defense Forces, led by Logan, along with the Golden Giant Snake and King Kong, formed a cosmic patrol to protect the security of the solar system. Iris, for her part, used her influence to gather the survivors from all over the world to establish a new home, allowing every person to live in peace and stability. And I did not choose to leave Earth for the depths of the universe. I am still the immortal snake that emerged from the valley. Only now I have something I want to protect. I built my own dwelling in the valley from those early years. Iris and Sophie often came with supplies to visit me, telling me about the changes in the outside world. The golden giant snake also came often to find me. Together we drank mountain spring water, chatting about the past of previous lives, just like in that life. We were blood brothers. From time to time, I also turned into a beam of light and traveled to every corner of the Earth, seeing children running under the sun, seeing the bustle of the cities, seeing how the mountains, rivers, lakes, and seas regained their past vitality. I knew that was the meaning for which I fought to the death. 3 months later, I coil myself on the highest peak of the Himalayas, gazing at this planet full of life below. At my feet, behind me stand Iris, the golden giant snake, and the others, with relaxed smiles on their faces. My mental energy spread throughout the universe, sensing the signals of countless light cycles. In the end, I was left with nothing more to say. The planets that were once invaded by civilizations of extraterrestrial beasts, upon learning that I had eliminated the Chaos Demon King and the main forces of the alien beasts, sent communications one after another, desiring to establish diplomatic relations with Earth and form the Universal Peace Alliance. I accepted with a smile. In my previous life, I was just an ordinary person struggling to survive in a wasteland. In this life, I devoured the meteorite and transformed into a giant snake. I activated the system, devouring and evolving until I became a giant serpent. In my previous life, I was just an ordinary person struggling to survive. I became the guardian of the universe. I never took human form. I remained the immortal snake covered in 7 colored scales. However, I lived the way I wanted to live. I protected those I wanted to protect. I protected this blue planet, and I protected the peace of this universe. Sunlight bathed my scales,